Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Cryptopolitan podcast. My name is Earl. I'm the head of sales over at the Cryptopolitan. And today's guests, we have joining us Bruno and Stefan over from, is it pronounced SEKAI? SEKAI?
Yeah,
Absolutely correct.
Perfect. Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Why don't we jump right in? Bruno, why don't we start with you? Tell us in like simple words, because some people are watching this show. They're gonna be some technical people, some non-technical people. Tell us what it is in non-technical terms, and then we can go and we can dive in a little bit after that.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Sekai actually is here since 5 years already. We are in the industry economy, and we are now releasing this towards a creator economy, which is a Web3 governed economy where builders can actually build applications similar to apps on your iPhone
Mm,
and then sell them towards the industry, right?
fantastic. Stefan, do you have anything to add to that? So,
Yeah, obviously I can point it out a bit out of my point of view. Actually, Stefan, sitting here in Switzerland next to Bruno, I got pulled in because I'm a bit more involved in Web3 than Bruno coming from like deep tech industrial side.
okay.
And in my words, like basically the narrative we frame is to have this ecosystem platform with an operating system, which is very complex, deep technology with AI infused. And we simplify everything towards like a builder community having Sekai Studio as a dev tool environment with SDKs, APIs, but also user interfaces where you can actually log in and play around data science with LLM prompting to make it easy. And then using this framework of the studio to deploy towards the actual end clients, which bring in real revenue streams to a build to earn framework. So yeah, that's going to go alongside the Sekai store, which is similar to App Store framework, where you can actually publish assets or logic you frame in the studio in a marketplace, but also full applications, which can be requested by these end clients with a prize money or a certain reward towards the builders after all.
Fantastic. So a little known fact about me. People don't know this because I don't publish this. We actually built 3,000 apps back in the day. So mobile app space, we built a ton of them. I'm not allowed to say the names because we're under NDA, but you'll know a bunch of them. Like if you have a smartphone, you probably have 10 of my apps installed on your phone. But
That's
that's really
amazing.
cool. So I'm really interested in you guys have built kind of an architecture, around for builders, for programmers to build something in the I guess this is high industry space so they can build all this stuff around these things. You made it easier and you built a marketplace around it. What was the inspiration behind that one?
Yeah, we initially actually started already back in 2019 by embracing this sort of shared economy because we actually recognize that if you want to build and solve like large problems, they obviously
Mm,
occur in real world beyond corporate boundaries, beyond B2B markets. So that's why an open platform like Sekai combined with Web3 shared economy principles is obviously what we believe is what the future way of work and collaboration looks like, right? Not only like today in gaming, but as well in the future for industry automation,
mm,
energy production. Today it's called like decentralized physical infrastructure. So you can actually as well imagine like energy production or water sewage or mobility being in a decentralized fashion, being able to talk to each other, that a wind turbine can talk to a train, for example, or a ship to a train, right? And this
that's
is,
that's that's really interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have built kind of this underlying infrastructure so that's easier for builders to build this stuff. Because I remember, like, I used to program, which feels like a million years ago now, right? in like, like all the old school stuff, COBOL, Fortran, like, punch cards and everything like that. So you had to build everything from scratch every single time. There was no such thing as a function. There was no such thing as a, shared library or whatever. So, people are building these things from absolute scratch with punch cards. And now there's shared library for everything. So you've built this shared library essentially with communication between a whole bunch of different parts so that people have access to the data. Is that pretty much what's going on?
Exactly. So we actually have built a sort of a, it's not an operating system, but it's more like an interoperability system where you can define small pieces, granular pieces, which are combining 4 main technologies, including gaming, artificial intelligence, then obviously the blockchain interaction, but as well natural language interoperability. This is called like semantics, right?
Yes.
But that's actually our IP, which we now publish towards the creator economy, so that all the creators can actually build such small Lego pieces and then put them together into larger applications and publish them and monetize them.
That makes sense. So here, I want to give you guys a bit of a nightmare scenario. Many moons ago, I was in high level tech support, and we were doing this. I'm not going to name the bank because it's shameful, but we were programming, and this shows my age, in ASP, right, on Windows, and oh my gosh, they had a 30,000 line if then else statement, no functions. There's 30,000 lines, and then they screwed up one semicolon and the whole thing blew up. And I'm like, oh no, we have to find this thing. So, building these things from scratch is a pain in the butt. So what you guys have put together is this infrastructure where it makes it easier. You're making calls, you're making API and SDK calls. So it's not, building every function yourself from ground zero. You're making it easier for people. Based on that, Stefan, what's the most exciting thing for you in the SEKAI project? What's exciting for you? What's interesting?
Absolutely. Like there are multiple aspects, obviously, which fetch my interest. Like being like OG in the space, or like what is an OG, but 3 cycles in, having seen many cases, and I think everyone who's as long in the space is a bit frustrated that we don't kind of escape the trap of these speculation cycles. And SEKAI seems to be the initiative which actually can bring economical value on chain from deep pockets and kind of burst these out to make sense and find adoption beyond just this kind of bubble we live in. So that's kind of personal point of view. Like from project perspective, what I believe is really pivotal to kickstart this creator economy, a lot of work needs to be done. And what Bruno and the team already fabricated up front to validate the directions of this infrastructure, but not only the infrastructure, also the use case applications on top, onboarded like major players from the industrial market like Hitachi, Siemens Energy, big names in the space who actually love the technology and want to go and step forward and embracing this vision of Bruno, like this playground which is already formed, making it so easy to actually execute on the timeline and bring a token to the market, which is not only for the builders, but for everyone who wants to participate in economy of the future and have a piece of it. That just makes it so tangible. And I love that about SEKAI, that we're not 3 years away from building value and creating value for builders. Like
you're already there.
We're there. We just need basically to align the stakeholders of the space around us and start to deploy things which make sense and propel the whole space forward, like plugging in all these deep pins with capacities towards our framework and everything which comes along, and just unlocking this cognitive intelligence and creativity of the space and this collaboration ethos. So that all packaged together is just so unique. And I think everyone who gets in touch with the project just falls in love with the high potential. And that's why it's super exciting to be part of it this early stage.
What I've been noticing is that the industry's come to like a bit of a maturity, right? Like when everything started out, everything's a meme coin, everything's about crypto kitties or whatever crazy thing is on the internet. And now we're actually seeing some real utility, which is what I'm enjoying from this conversation. Like you're actually building stuff it's if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come and build it, right? So that's kind of interesting. That's really cool. Bruno, what's exciting on your end? I mean, like, so obviously we got Stefan's point of view. What's exciting for you?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I grew up on the shop floor, right? I'm really the mechanical engineer. I started a traditional apprenticeship as tool maker here in Switzerland.
Nice.
And now I see this sort of evolving more and more into that shared economy, but as well being able to democratize on value generation for the industry, right? Like having this Roblox-like capabilities now for community, for builders, for industrial sort of interested people being able to monetize in a decentralized fashion, in a shared economy, not being bound into a corporate structure, not being sort of trapped into the sort of economy, which now is since many, many decades there. And I think we are now seeing a shift into much broader ecosystem, into much broader creator and innovator being able to work beyond that corporate boundary. And that's what excited me, is really to democratize that entire industrial real world monetization.
So maybe forget your employment contracts, right? Like embrace SEKAI Studio, and you can earn for decades if you create something valuable such an industrial giant subscribes to, right? Like it
Absolutely.
you can transfer this ownership to your child because it sits in your wallet, and
Right.
the big industrial pockets will just pay you forever.
That's really cool.
So
I like that, right? Like, because the problem with most developers is that they're developers, right? So back when I was a developer, I could only see like this. I can only see what's in front of me. I see the code. I don't understand any of the business portion, but I've always wanted to build something that would change humanity, right? So we build stuff, but like you guys are saying, it's within the confines of whatever my contract is, right? So would you guys build it out for like the whole industry? I mean, that's interesting how Hitachi and these giant brands are coming on board, and you're going, like you said, like going beyond the boundary of the structure, right? That's really cool because you're building a real actual infrastructure on the bottom. And like what I make fun of is that when some people, they're part of a particular group, you can only sell the stuff within the group, right? So you're naturally going to be a little bit biased, right? So it's like, oh yeah, this is the greatest because this is the one who employs me, right? I like yours because it's a real underlying real structure, right? And you can give it to the big boys right away. So that's really cool. That bridges the gap because most coders, myself included, don't know how to sell, right? And so it wasn't until I switched over that it kind of just happened. So anyway, that's really cool. When you guys aren't building the new infrastructure for the future, why don't we start with Bruno? What's your hobby? What people want to connect with you as a person outside of the SEKAI project? So we talk about that sort of thing. What are you into? What's interesting about you and your life when you're not coding and you're not building stuff?
Yeah, I'm very sort of, my mind is very sort of tied to what I'm doing, so I'm not sort of separate too much. So because that's sort of something which occupies my mind since I started programming as well. But apart from that, obviously, yeah, two small kids and a dog, right? Like family life.
Fantastic.
And then I actually do a lot of audiobooks. Right? I really like audiobooks. I'm not good in reading, so I'm better in listening. And if I really have some leisure time, I usually go for a walk or a sort of jogging. And as we do in Switzerland, snowboarding is one of my biggest passions. So I'm
so
quite
cool.
looking forward for the winter, right, up to coming.
That's awesome. I'm a terrible snowboarder. I can do 360 down the mountain, but I don't mean to. So I'm just screaming, spinning sideways down. Like, it's not working, right? So that's really cool. So I got two kids and a bird. So it's a little different from the dog, but
yeah, you can send them to me. I was actually a professional snowboard teacher before I founded SEKAI. So
that's so cool. See, that's a cool, because you talk to a lot of developer and they're boring, right? Like how many developers can you say, hey, I was a professional snowboard teacher before this. That's interesting. You know what I mean? Like most of them are like, I'm boring. I'm still boring. I'm like, no, snowboarding is cool, man. I live in Vancouver. Everybody comes here just to snowboard. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I've
So
been there once, right? Yeah.
yeah, we're a weird place. It's expensive as hell here, but you know, I
Right.
can touch the beach and touch the ocean, and then like an hour later, I'm touching a mountain, right? So it's an interesting place. That's what makes it so expensive, I think. So there you go. Stefan, how about you? So when you're not, you know, working on the project, what do you do for fun?
Yeah, talking about expensive places, I was born close to St. Moritz, which is obviously one of the top of the world places for high-end tourism, and the nature is just a
Wow.
paradise. So we were
Yeah.
prone to just embrace like every sport there is you can do at a
Nice.
mountainside in summer and winter. So obviously like very deep into snowboarding as well, like all freestyle related kind of sports just to get off mind and just do stuff. And
Right.
when I grew, I actually like kite surfing came up and also snow
Oh,
kiting. So I
that's
started
cool.
doing that, and that just like was another level for me. So I was actually going to travel to Australia for a year just for kite surfing, and just embrace this sport. And I'm still super into it. So like now I also have two kids, two daughters. They're still quite young, but actually changed a lot. And the traveling, instead of having the kite bag, you know, like now you have two kids and a kite bag. It's getting super, you know, like bulky to do stuff, but it's still worth it. So I like just to go around, and I love music as well. So I started to play a couple of instruments without getting teach, just for fun, and just embrace every different creative aspect. Like I'm painting sometimes. So yeah, I like to just like do some stuff which takes me off mind. It kind of bases me down. So also starting doing a lot of spiritual work, and you know, like work with your own inner energy to find this balance as an entrepreneur. So there's a lot of kind of uh, like interesting hobbies I play along in the leisure time, which takes me kind of out of the brain down to kind of creativity and into nature and
Hmm.
base myself.
So you know, it's interesting. Like this is not the first interview. There's been a bunch, and what I've noticed a lot is that there have been you know, there's a correlation between the entrepreneurs who have like a deep love of what they do and also a deep interest in stuff, just life. You know what I mean? And so it's fascinating seeing the people who are really successful are the ones who also work hard, but they also play hard, right? If you guys are snowboarding, kite surfing, all this kind of these crazy fun things to do,
It's the end, it's about passion, right? I think like
yeah,
this is what we should never forget. If you work hard, like it's obviously you should work where you have passion, but passion doesn't stop at work. And
right. But you live hard, you
all of
play
this
hard,
thing.
you work hard. It's this is the pattern I'm seeing with the successful project owners, that sort of thing.
Mm.
It's the ones that have the most interesting, you know, break and the most interesting work kind of coincide together. And you know that those two halves of the brain really make the thing make a difference, right? Like, you know, when someone has like a boring ass hobby, the project is boring, right? What I found, right?
Yeah,
And
and
if
you
some
attract the
people have a
people
cool
which
hobby, oh my god, the project is so cool because you know it was the way the mind gets shaped, right? Because you know there's two halves of the brain, right? You know you can't all be
yeah.
left, right? So sometimes you need the right side. That's really cool how you're playing instruments. That's really cool how you're doing all those things. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think a big factor is also like to what you mentioned is if you are embracing such things which are about fun and passion as well in leisure time, you attract the energetic people which are vibrating with you, right? And
Hmm,
they can give impulse to your work life as well because they're similar
absolutely.
people. So it propels you forward. It's like a spiral in a positive way. So I think that has a lot of effect, just like being around the right networks and having
Right.
fun with these networks. I learned like within my career that business talks is actually just like 5%. It's all about relationship. It's about personality, and you need to love each other in a way to make successful business. So like what we do outside is as important as within the business hours for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it completes you as a person, right? Like if all you do is one thing, then you don't get that multifaceted approach to life. Well, that being said, let's figure out. So this is a cool project. Man, this. I wish I found you guys sooner. Uh, what
It's soon enough, man.
soon enough? Oh, it's been 5 years. So
Just
all right,
you're just
I'm happy I found you guys. So the next question really is, what's like? So the viewership who's watching this, you want them to connect with you. give them a reason to connect with you. So why don't we hear Bruno's reason to connect, and Stefan, your reason to connect, and then where do you want them to connect with you? What do you want to grow next? Is it your Discord channel? Is it your Telegram channel? Is it your X or Twitter? Like, so why don't we start with Bruno? Why should people connect? I mean, you told me that, you know, the builders should come and build. That's really exciting. Why else should they come connect with you?
Yeah, I think we are starting now sort of a ecosystem where we obviously need people to connect to us, right? In order to make the next step in sort of industrial way forward, right? And really solve the big problems for sustainable development goals and sort of as well climate change topic. So if you want to connect and try to help solving those like big issues, that's really, or big challenges, that's really something we wanna have people connecting to SEKAI.
Fantastic. And Stefano.
The channels are, we are currently not fully fledged on all the channels. We currently are on X and now I think in the upcoming days we ramp up a Telegram group.
Okay, fantastic. So for you, you want people to connect with you on X and then come because they want to see what the infrastructure looks like in the build. That's cool. Stefan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, like where to connect is one thing, right? Like, I think first we should talk to who, because we want to be very inclusive towards all stakeholders. So like I just talked directly to you as a builder out there. Like you're maybe in your room at home and you figure like, oh, I'm fed up by my job, like working for a large corporate, like, or I have some passion for data. I have some passion for 3D modeling, to find innovation in processes alongside logistics, alongside healthcare, like whatever you have passion about. I think we're gonna deliver you a playground where you can really follow this passion and actually monetize on it. And I think that's very much needed to understand that we have a room for pretty much everyone out there who's willing to put in a bit of brain power, maybe is a bit of a tech enthusiast, not shying back from slight complexities to wrap your head around, has a space to actually build legacy. And you can come out very big. As you said before, like we've been through kind of these emerging markets around application development. Now, the next era where you can be early is like build applications for the industrial landscape. This has been always blocked off. Like this was a locked space. And now we can open that for everyone out there. Like, is it an Indonesian person who currently earns like $2? Like potentially you can earn millions, right? With your application innovation. Or towards the Western world, where it's always sometimes not easy to always follow this corporate lifestyle and you just want to break out. So I think who is very important for us to mention, that we want like everyone who wants to kind of embrace this sandbox at first, but then later on the industrial kind of productive environment, like please come connect to us. Like we're gonna set up trainings, we're gonna set up manuals, we're gonna like build out quests for you to actually work yourself into these value creation points to make it easy. And where to connect, obviously, like we're very early in the rollout of the convergence towards Web3. We're in the midst of the seed round. So if you're interested to actually financially commit to the case, like we're very open to hold conversations with V's, family offices, high net worth individuals, but also later on, obviously the retail. And now we have X like pretty much like fed with content to give you a perspective. I think Bruno mentioned we gonna launch a Telegram builder community, which is probably kind of the way where you can connect with us a bit deeper, hold conversations. We're gonna obviously publish this link also on X. X handle currently SEKAI_protocol, everything as you speak. And then we're gonna be active in the space. So you hopefully can see us in a couple of live spaces around X and also podcasts with our friends we have in the space. So there's definitely a lot of potential to connect with us upcoming in the next weeks and months.
That's super exciting. So, well, guys, you know what? I'm really appreciative of what you guys are building here. I think this is the wave of the future. Like I said, like this is interesting project, interesting people. That's all we're asking, right? So that's why we do this. That's why we do this podcast. I get to meet really cool people and find really cool projects. I'm enjoying myself. So thank you guys so much for being on the show. I really appreciate your insight. I really do appreciate what you're building for real. This is cool stuff. So I'm excited about where the market is headed.
Appreciate having us. It was very exciting to be here. And yeah, let's talk soon again.
You betcha. All right. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.